afternoon from the farmer's garden. I'm one of the farmers and we're out setting posts today. We're going through first of all with the auger on the back of the tractor, digging the holes. This fence is a low budget production, so we have cut down trees off the property that we will use for posts. And then we are spacing these posts about twice what they normally would be so that we can go back in later as the funds appear and redo the fence without necessarily taking the whole thing down. So we're using the auger right now. I'm supposed to be over here spotting to make sure that everything is lined up correctly, and then Brandon is operating the tractor. So we came through the other day and measured and just used spray paint to mark X's on the ground where each post should be. And now we're just driving along the fence row, and it is my job to kind of spot for Brandon and let him know if the post is going in semi-straight or if he needs to move up or back. Our holes are quite a bit bigger than our post will be, so we're not worried about getting it super duper straight, but we do need the post to be relatively up and down in the ground. I also occasionally have to hold on to the top bar of the auger and help to push it and make it work better. So some of these are just drilling straight down and they're going really nicely, and some of them we're hitting some really thick clay, and that's sort of gumming them up, and we have to really sit and work at it to get it in. But we are making progress. This is hole number 10 in about 15 minutes, so it goes pretty fast. Of the garden is much more rocky, so just for safety's sake, I am not helping to hold the auger at all. It's just kind of doing what it's going to do, because when it hits those big rocks it tends to jerk around. Obviously there's a lot of moving parts there and we don't want to get anybody hurt, so I'm just mostly here to watch and see if Brandon needs to pull forward or back up or anything. But as far as side to side holding, I'm not going to be doing that on this side of the garden. This particular hole was really a circus. Lots of really big rocks coming up. It was really shaking. So that is why, even though it's a little crooked, we are not holding on to the machine right now, because as it jerks around, it is just not safe to be standing there, at least when you're not any stronger than I am. So I'm just getting him lined up, kind of getting him in the right spot as best I can, and then letting the machine do the work. See that it would not be safe to be standing there right now with the rocks coming out and it jumping around like it is. We're just going to let it do what it can do, and we'd rather have a crooked post than a broken leg or anything like that. Last hole, and of course it doesn't want to go in, so you can hear that the tractor is revved up really high right now. Increasing the throttle on the tractor increases the RPM, the revolutions per minute, which allows the auger to spin faster and hopefully break through whatever it's hitting. The few holes that this has happened today where it wasn't rocks, it's been really thick clay, and you can see those like gobs coming out of there. When he pulls that up, I'll go pick one up. They've been super thick, super wet gobs of clay, which at least tells us that we have good subsurface moisture. There's good water down below, but it makes digging holes much harder. So that's the last hole. I think we did 90 total. We did about half of them the other day and about half of them today. So you can see these are just, it looks like sand, but it is super wet. It's like a red clay. Some of it has been gray. It's just really thick, wet stuff, and that's what it has been hanging up and binding on all day. Just to give you an idea of what we're fencing, this will be our gate. We go up around there. There is a post right there that will be a corner. We're not pulling any of this super tight, so no, we don't have H-braces and all the good things that you're supposed to have. It'll come down right here. Again, this is mostly a temporary fence that we can adjust and add on to in the future as money allows. All of this part will be cleared in the next year or so. So the fence is going to go all the way around that side of the woods. Over this way, this is where our garden was last year, here where Rusty Tractor is parked. That's where our garden was last year. That's where potatoes will be going in soon. So there's the post right over there. We go to a post over there. We use a tree for a corner over there, and then all along the back until it connects back over on that side. So it's about 90 posts, and I think Brandon said it's 3 or 3.5 acres, something like that, that we'll have total. And we are fencing this, hoping to go about 10 feet high with electric wire for the deer. So if you follow us on Facebook, you probably saw a post recently about how when the woods are all a tangled mess like this through here, the deer actually can't move through it. And so as we open up more pieces, the deer are like, oh look, we can walk. And so they're all coming out into these openings. In fact, we walked down to check something a little while ago, and on our way down we scared up 3 deer because they're just hanging out up here where it's more open, which is fabulous for the deer. And as we clear out more and more of this on our land, they'll have more and more space. But right now we need to keep them out of the vegetables. There's actually a few reasons why we need to keep them out of the vegetables. Obviously they eat the plants and mess them up. Deer are particularly hard on peas. They didn't mess with the tomatoes a whole lot last year. Didn't mess with squash a whole lot. They're hard on cantaloupe, watermelon, radishes, any of the greens. They love those. So we have to keep them out for that reason. But also long term, because of health and safety laws, we are supposed to get our garden before we reach a certain size, a certain sales each year. We're supposed to have the garden fenced so that we're not allowing wildlife in to pee or poo or whatever near the vegetables that we're growing. So that's kind of a long-term deal as well, to have that fenced and ready as we grow. Brandon has gone to park the tractor and disconnect the auger and all those things. And I'm just going to start putting up a few of the posts that are here and close. You can see the kids made themselves a log cabin with some of them. So, out of breath. These posts are heavy, y'all. Okay, so the hole is there. I stand the post up in it, and then I kick dirt in. But that is not enough to hold the post. So you don't want to put a wood post into concrete, because eventually the water would pool on the top of the concrete instead of flowing past it and rot the post off at that level, and then you would just have a gob of concrete stuck in the ground. So we kick the dirt in as much as we can, kind of mound it up, and then we have to get it in. Oh, my shadow's in the way. We have to get it pressed in as tightly as possible, and just stomping on it is not enough. So we're going to tamp the dirt, and we do have like an actual tamper up at the shop. Pappy does, but it's heavy and it's a long walk up there. So I'll wait and go get it later, and I'll just show you what we do with the stick. We're basically going to just poke it in and shove that dirt in as tight and as close to that post as possible, and that will keep it from settling much and from shifting around in there. Okay, I'm going to see if I can show you with this post the importance of tamping and why we do that. So you can see the post is just set in the hole. I have not kicked any dirt in yet. So we start by just putting some dirt in. We try to hold the post as upright as possible. This is also why T-posts are amazing, because you simply drive them into the ground, so there's no packing involved there. All right, so that is enough dirt. The post is staying on its own without me holding it. Let me see where I set my stick. So then as we pack it, the idea here is that the pointy end of the stick has a smaller surface area than a foot or anything like that. And so it is able to really reach in there and smush out any air pockets that are there. So we go around, we really pack that down as good as we can, and then we can add more dirt. Okay, so I got the first round tamped and I have added more dirt, and you can see how that stick is able to really squish in there versus if I took my foot. So the stick is going in about 6 inches and my foot is like 3 inches is good. So that's why we use the stick or a tamping rod to make sure that we're packing the hole nice and tight. Okay, 3 down, 87 more to go. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video because my battery is dying and I really need to focus anyway. So we're just gonna keep setting as many posts today as we possibly can. Brandon is on the dozer. He cut some trees in the woods and now he needs to clear a trail to be able to get to them to use his post. I'm gonna keep setting until he's up here to help me, and we'll see how much of this fence we can get knocked out today. So that's kind of the routine. That's what we do. All the holes are here. Most of the posts are cut, and we're just gonna stick them in the ground, tamp the dirt around them, pack them in good, and get ready to string a fence, hopefully someday this week. Or maybe next week. We'll see. Weeks are much shorter in busy season. Way shorter in busy season. Okay. Thank you for stopping by the farm today. I hope you enjoyed your visit. Hope you learned something. Y'all be sure and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can grow and reach more people. And come back when you can stay longer.